Hello, everyone. This is Jay Coder back with another stream, and today we're going to be going over a CSS tutorial, and it's going to be about CSS selectors. And today I'm going to go over the lesson a bit and chat GPT, and then show you guys a code example after that's over. And without further ado, let's get started. Subscribe to the channel. All right, so as you can see, I have an image here, mastering CSS selectors. Learn how to target and style any element on your web page. All right, so we have an image there, and now let's go ahead and select the lesson here. I'm going to have the voiceover go ahead and voice over the lesson for us to, so we can be able to digest the information.
Sure. Here's the full lesson text and code examples, voiceover friendly, based on the CSS Selectors page from W3 Schools. Lesson CSS Selectors Explained. Voiceover style friendly, clear, instructional. Intro. CSS selectors are patterns that tell the browser which HTML elements to style. You can think of them as labels that point to specific elements in your web page. There are 5 main categories of selectors. 1. Simple selectors. Select elements by name, ID, or class 2. Combinator selectors. Select elements based on relationships. 3. Pseudo-class selectors. Select elements based on state, like hover. 4. Pseudo-element selectors. Style parts of elements. 5. Attribute selectors. Target elements by attribute values. In this lesson, we'll focus on the most common and essential ones, simple selectors. The element selector explanation. The element selector targets all HTML elements of a specific type. For example, you can make all paragraphs centered and red. Code. You can see the code in our conversation history. Dot narration line. This styles every tag on the page. Simple and powerful. The ID selector explanation. Each element on a web page can have a unique ID. You use the symbol to target that element. You can see the code in our conversation history narration line. Here, only the element with the ID para1 gets these styles. Remember, IDs must be unique and can't start with a number. The class selector explanation. Classes let you style groups of elements that share the same class name. You use a dot followed by the class name. Code. You can see the code in our conversation history narration line. Now, every element with class equals center becomes red and centered. Element plus class combination explanation. You can combine element and class selectors to target specific cases. Code. You can see the code in our conversation history. Narration line. This affects only tags with the class center, leaving others untouched. Multiple classes explanation. An element can have more than one class applied at the same time. HTML example. You can see the code in our conversation history. Here, the paragraph gets styles from both the center and large classes. The universal selector explanation. The universal selector targets every element on the page. Use it when you want to set a rule for all elements. Code. You can see the code in our conversation history. Narration line. This makes everything on the page blue and centered. The grouping selector. Explanation. When multiple elements share the same styling, you can group them together to save code. Ungrouped code. You can see the code in our conversation history. Grouped code. You can see the code in our conversation history. Narration line. This grouped version does the same thing, with much cleaner code. Recap. Let's review the simple selectors. Element selects all elements of that type. Hash ID selects one specific element by ID. Dot class selects elements that share a class. Selects everything. Element, groups, multiple selectors. Would you like me to format this as a voiceover script with slide prompts for your narration timing, or as a ready-to-import lesson text for your course editor or video project?
All right, so that was what I wanted to show you guys as far as selectors. And also, if you missed the code, you can always pause it or go back to study the code, but I'm going to also give you guys a code example here in my Visual Studio editor. And so here is my Visual Studio editor, and I have the um, style, the um, here, and then I have the p dot center, and so that's going to be a um, class that goes ahead and it centers and changes the color to red. And so you can see the classes entered down here. And okay, and let me go ahead and play that really quick. And as you can see, this is what it does. It selects one that does this formatting and selects the other that does this formatting. This heading will not be affected, but this heading will be effective. And so that's the actual example I wanted to show you guys. And the thing is, with p dot center, it will only affect the p's instead of anything that is the center class. So if you want only the p's affected by this class, you can say p dot center. All right, and yeah, continue to study the selectors for more, and that's a lesson of how selectors work in CSS. All right, well, that's all that I have for you guys today. And um, if you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment on this video, and like always, stay coding. This is Jay Coder. Peace.